Welcome back to Panda Audiobooks. We have crossed the threshold of the first 100 chapters, and the world of Jian Wushuang has changed forever. In our last episode, the truth behind the conspiracy against Wushuang's father was finally brought to light. Shaken but determined, Wushuang has realized that his current power is not enough to challenge the true masterminds. Today, the quiet before the carnage begins. Chapters 101 through 105 find Wushuang in a period of intense, hidden cultivation. Retreating to a secluded location within the Azure Heaven Domain, he begins the grueling process of fully merging with the ancient artifact he recovered. This is a journey of internal struggle and extreme discipline as he pushes his heavenly creation skill to its breaking point. He isn't just leveling up, he is reinventing his sword Dao to prepare for a war against those who destroyed his family. It's time to sharpen the blade. Chapter 101 starts now. Chapter 101: Shocking the Dragon Palace. In the manor where Jian Wushuang lived, Wang Yuan was refining a stove of pills in his own room. It was at the key moment. Fatty Wang, Fatty Wang. Shouts came into the room. Wang Yuan, who was concentrating on refining pills, was distracted all of a sudden. His facial expression changed, before a careless move caused the stove to explode and the pills in it disappeared. Damn it! Which bastard wasted my medicinal materials? I will kill him if he cannot give me a good explanation. Wang Yuan, dusty and dirty, kicked the door open and walked out, finding two disciples of Dragon Palace who had a good relationship with him waiting for him outside. What is going on? Wang Yuan asked unhappily. You are refining pills again. The stove exploded, didn't it? Seeing that, the two disciples of Dragon Palace couldn't help laughing secretly. Shortly one of them said seriously, Fatty Wang, Swordsman is going through the Dragon Gate Pass now. He has passed the 8th level. You better go and see. You care about him as he is your brother, isn't he? Third brother. He is going through the Dragon Gate Pass. Wang Yuan startled, then his eyes become bright. He has passed the 8th level. Not only has he passed the 8th level, it is said that he did it with sword essence of raging fire only. The whole Dragon Palace is in shock. Everyone from Dragon Palace is there, and we too came to tell you as soon as we heard the news. That man continued, passing the 8th level with sword essence of raging fire only. Wang Yuan's eyes were shone even more. Aha, let's go. Let's go to have a look right now. Oh, wait a minute. You go first. I will tell fourth sister to go with me. Wang Yuan said. Okay, hurry up. We have told you the news. Soon Wang Yuan and Su Ru, who was cultivating earnestly in her room, just now walked together to the Dragon Gate. Outside Dragon Gate, there were huge crowds of people. Except those who were adventuring outside, almost all the disciples of Dragon Palace were there. Genius disciples like Bai Cheng, Su Lai and others who rarely showed up but were capable of passing the 8th level were there too. Su Lai, I didn't expect you would come. Bai Cheng glanced at Su Lai. Aha, I didn't expect you would come, too. Su Lai smiled and said, rarely a fantastic talent appears in Dragon Palace. Of course I want to have a look. Bai Cheng snorted without saying another word. However, looking at the golden tower in the front, his eyes flashed strangely. Swordsman. Jian Wushuang. Bai Cheng's eyes were cold. Target of Scarlet Kill Command. His Excellency in Grey personally ordered me to act decisively and kill him whenever I got a chance. But it is in Dragon Palace. To kill him is not easy. Openly, Bai Cheng was a top genius in Dragon Palace. In fact, he belonged to Blood Feather Tower. He was a spy in Dragon Palace sent by Blood Feather Tower at a huge cost. Many disciples present were talking about Swordsman. What a surprise! All of us thought multitasking was impossible and that it was stupid to comprehend sword essence of Gale, earth sword essence and sword essence of raging fire at the same time. However, he has passed the 8th level of Dragon Gate with sword essence of raging fire only. Toot toot. The news that Jian Wushuang passed the 8th level with sword essence of raging fire only had spread throughout Dragon Palace. At first, some of them doubted about it. However, when they arrived at the Dragon Gate, they met the level keeper of the 8th level. He admitted that he was defeated by Jian Wushuang with sword essence of raging fire only. They burst into an uproar. No one doubted it anymore. Then, they were waiting to see how far Jian Wushuang could go. Passing the 8th level, so what? Even if he succeeded with sword essence of raging fire only, what would that prove? Maybe it is because he put all his energy in comprehending it but neglected sword essence of gale and earth sword essence. I'm afraid he comprehends sword essence of raging fire the most now. Unexpectedly, someone snorted and said those words. It was Nangong Jie, who had prior history with Jian Wushuang. At the beginning, all of them didn't have any expectations of Jian Wushuang. Even Palace Master White was extremely disappointed that he comprehended 3 kinds of sword essence at the same time. However, Nangong Jie was happy to see this. But when he heard that Jian Wushuang had passed the 8th level with sword essence of raging fire only, he was jealous. I'm sure that Swordsman is best at sword essence of raging fire. He will go as far as the 8th level. To pass the 9th level is impossible. If he did it, I would change my first name with my last name. Nangong Jie groaned. He said loudly. Many disciples of Dragon Palace around him nodded after hearing that. They thought Nangong Jie was in the right. If Jian Wushuang really made great progress while comprehending sword essence of raging fire, gale, and earth at one time, it was truly in defiance of the natural order. Of course, no matter what the results would tell. In the 9th level of Dragon Gate, the level keeper in it was a red-haired strong man. Comprehending raging fire knife principle, he fought with a saber in an overbearing way. And Jian Wushuang fought back with sword skill of blood and fire based on sword essence of raging fire. One strike after another, each one was going to all out, causing flames which could destroy everything. He had been fighting with the red-haired strong man for a long time. Swordsman, I know you, and know that you are most good at sword essence of gale and sword essence of earth. Use them all, otherwise you can't defeat me with sword essence of raging fire only. Suddenly a saber split while he was talking, and the air was split in half in an instant. When Jian Wushuang was deflecting the saber of the red-haired strong man, the corners of his mouth quirked up. I have been studying sword principle of fierce fire in the last half a year. Finally I could display the 6th move of sword skill of blood and fire. However, it could only help me pass the 8th level. Fighting with the level keeper at the 9th level, he is totally suppressed, and more important, the level keeper doesn't do his best. Jian Wushuang shook his head and smiled. Then he did not keep his strength hidden any longer. Be careful. After saying it, Jian Wushuang thrust out his triple kill sword immediately. Wow! It crossed tens of meters in a moment. So did the sword light. Fast, so fast. It was too fast to react in time. Formless swordsmanship, the 6th move. The red-haired strong man opened his eyes wide. However, Jian Wushuang had already stepped toward the 10th level. The 9th level passed. The truth was that Jian Wushuang defeated him with only one move when he didn't hide his strength. In the 10th level, his opponent was a woman in black who used a long spear. She comprehended dripping water and gale at the same time, and her spearmanship was fast and powerful. This time, Jian Wushuang totally suppressed her with both sword essence of raging fire and sword essence of gale. Finally the strength of earth-ground realm in his body was unleashed. After several rounds, he defeated her. The 10th level passed. Chapter 102, A Big Explosion. On the 11th level of Dragon Gate, a black-robed lady stood there with a jet-black longstaff in her hands. You, a warrior who is only in the spiritual sea realm, managed to pass through up to this level. Excellent. The black-robed lady coldly looked at Jian Wushuang and said, "Show me all your strength." As you wish. Some fighting intent rose in his eyes. Without the aid of resources from Dragon Palace, he had meditated and cultivated alone in the endless mountain range for half a year. However, he had generated a sword-shaped phantom in his mind when his sword soul completely woke half a year ago. After generating the sword-shaped phantom, he reached a totally new level in comprehending sword essence. Because of that, even though he spent half a year in the endless mountain range on his own, his comprehension speed was faster than it would have been in Dragon Palace with aid from various resources. There are 13 levels in total. The higher you go, the tougher the challenge is. As for the opponent of the 11th level, they are definitely much stronger than the 10th level. I will use you to test my progress from this half of a year. Come on. Jian Wushuang unleashed his strength to the limit. At the same time, 3 kinds of sword essence, earth, gale, and raging fire, also soared. How much progress had he made in the last 6 months? This battle would answer that. Boom! The air instantly split as a terrifying sword shadow was unleashed. The black-robed lady felt as if an immense mountain was heading toward her, with a vast power that made her hold her breath. Formless sword wave, the 10th move. The black-robed lady was shocked. Formless sword wave only has 14 moves. He can actually use the 10th move? How did he gain such great comprehension into sword essence of earth at such a young age? Although it was frightening, the black-robed lady took action immediately. That black long staff immediately flew out, like a soaring dragon. The black-robed lady only had comprehension in sword essence of earth, but she had reached an extremely high level. She was at least at a higher level than Jian Wushuang. After hearing the sound of a loud collision, Jian Wushuang changed his movement and directly thrust his long sword. The 6th move of formless sword arts. The black-robed lady immediately reacted, but the next moment, sword skill of blood and fire slashed towards her again. The sword essences of gale, earth, and raging fire. Jian Wushuang had perfectly transitioned between 3 kinds of sword essence and maximized their power. I have an extremely high comprehension of these 3 sword essences. But, it's unfortunate, I haven't managed to combine them. So far, I'm only able to perfectly transition between them. Otherwise, my sword arts would be infinitely more powerful than they are right now, Jian Wushuang thought to himself. After comprehending different kinds of sword essence, it was not only possible to perfectly transition between them, they could also be combined. Perfectly transitioning just meant moving from one sword essence to another. But they were still completely separate from each other. When combined, 2 different sword essences could be simultaneously released at once. One sword stroke consisting of 2 different kinds of sword essence, which was naturally much stronger than a sword stroke with only one kind of sword essence. Obviously, it was much easier to transition, yet extremely difficult to combine. But I'm able to defeat you with by perfectly transitioning between the 3 sword essences. A sharp light flashed in Jian Wushuang's eyes as he released his full strength. 3 different sword essences. Sometimes, it was the massive and vast sword essence of earth, with monstrous vigor. Sometimes, it was the ethereal and light sword essence of gale, with incredible speed. And sometimes it was even a berserk and violent sword essence of raging fire, with terrifying power. Faced with the perfect transition and display of 3 sword essences, the black-robed lady could only try her best to strike back. But, in the end, she did not manage to fight back and was completely suppressed. Once she was suppressed, the result was obvious. In a single moment, the black-robed lady was defeated. The 11th level passed. In the air, above the nearby Dragon Gate, 10 powerful figures stood there, using Void Walk. Obviously, all of them were supreme experts in the yin-yang void realm. Palace Master Black and Palace Master White were the leaders among them, while the others were Palace Masters of the 4 temples of earth, fire, water, and wind. Recently, I tried to persuade him in person, suggesting that he should not waste effort attempting to comprehend sword essence of raging fire. But a few days later, he passed the 8th level with only sword essence of raging fire. How ironic, Palace Master White said without any irritation. He isn't sneering at you. He just wants to show you that he is right, commented another Palace Master before laughing. Not necessarily. To do 3 things at once is still extremely difficult. He did make progress in sword essence of raging fire, but he may make small progress or no progress in the other 2 sword essence. So what's the point? Palace Master White said, shaking her head. Even now, she persisted in her opinion. To do 3 things at one time was essentially wrong. What do you think? How many levels can the young man pass through? The Palace Master Black, who had been silent this whole time, suddenly asked. Merely with sword essence of raging fire, he passed the 8th level. Even if he didn't make much progress for the last 6 months, he is likely to pass the 9th level by perfect transitioning between the 3 different sword essences given his high comprehension in sword essence of Gale as well as sword essence of Earth. Well, the 9th level. It is possible, but it is also the limit. Maybe. After all, the higher the level of Dragon Gate is, the tougher the challenge is. It was easy for him to pass the 8th level. However, even if he uses the 3 sword essences, he isn't likely to pass the 9th level. But, I still think that he can make it. The group of palace masters was casually talking and laughing. Suddenly, a dazzling golden light shined from the 9th level of the golden pavilion. Ha ha! He passed the 9th level. Several palace masters laughed at once. In the square outside of the Dragon Gate, many disciples of Dragon Palace were in a turmoil. But the turmoil only persisted for a short while. Zoom! The 10th level of the golden pavilion lit up a minute later. Then, the same dazzling golden light began shining from the 11th level. The 10th level passed. The 11th level was also passed. In the air above the nearby Dragon Gate, the palace masters were silent, staring at the golden pavilion with eyes full of shock and disbelief. Was it possible? Jian Wushuang was able to squeeze through the 7th level 6 months ago. With the passing of only half a year, could he have really passed the 11th level? How can this be? My God! The 11th level. Has he really passed the 11th level? Terrifying. It is too terrifying. Who just said that he might not even pass the 9th level? Those palace masters in the Yin-Yang Void Realm were all in shock. The speed that Jian Wushuang comprehended sword essence far exceeded their imagination. They had thought that if Jian Wushuang made rapid progress in sword essence of Raging Fire, he might not make much progress in the comprehending the sword essences of Gale and Earth. After all, only 6 months had passed. If Jian Wushuang comprehended 3 sword essences during this time, it seemed impossible for him to make too much progress under normal conditions. All of them thought so. But what was the truth? What did they see? The 11th level. Jian Wushuang passed the 11th level, didn't he? What did that mean? At that moment, all of the palace masters present, including Palace Master Black and the Palace Master White, were filled with disbelief. Especially Palace Master White, who had spoken with Jian Wushuang in person, seen him pass the 8th level merely with fierce fire sword principle, but still persisted in her opinion. But now, Palace Master White only felt her face burning. Chapter 103, Bright Future. The palace masters were very surprised. Naturally, everyone in the square outside of the Dragon Gate was even more shocked. The 11th level of the Dragon Gate. Will he pass it? Is that even possible? Generally speaking, passing the 7th level of the Dragon Gate means his comprehension in the essence realm of heaven and earth is on a par with a master in the initial Yin-Yang Void Realm. By comparison, passing the 8th level should make him equal to an average warrior in the Yin-Yang Void Realm. Therefore, passing the 9th level, like Bai Cheng, means he is much stronger than many masters in Yin-Yang Void Realm. Passing the 11th level. What a monster! How old he is. It is said that he is 17 years old now, right? A boy of 17 years old, passing the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. It caused a great stir in the square. Below the arena, everyone shouted in shock. Aha, the 11th level, that's definitely my third brother. How amazing would it be if he passed it? Wang Yuan was the happiest one among the people present. He was so proud of his brother that his voice rang out in the square. Though he had limited talent and could only pass the 4th level of the Dragon Gate even now, he had a brother who was a genius. The 11th level. Su Ru's beautiful eyes were also full of shock. That guy. Su Lai stood at the edge of the square with a saber on his back. Looking at the sparkling golden light on the 11th floor of the Golden Tower, he couldn't help marveling at it. Even for masters on the earthly dragon list, I'm afraid only the top 10 could comprehend so deeply and pass the 11th level. However, while standing in the crowd at this moment, Nangong Jie was staring at the Golden Tower with a look of horror. How is that possible? Isn't this impossible? Nangong Jie was muttering to himself. Aha, who said that if my brother passed the 9th level, he would change his first name with his last name? Wang Yuan said sarcastically. Hearing that, the people present looked at each other speechlessly. Nangong Jie's face was aflame with embarrassment. He could only hide his face in shame. At a corner of the square, stood Bai Cheng, a white-haired man wearing white. He looked grave while staring at the golden tower. Sir Greyrobe, you told me to kill him whenever I got a chance. But how? Bai Cheng roared and snarled in his heart. He is at the 11th level. I could only pass the 9th level by doing my utmost. He is much stronger than me in comprehending the essence realm of heaven and earth. It is impossible for me to kill him outside, let alone inside Dragon Palace. Bai Cheng understood his own strength clearly. Compared with Jian Wushuang, he was only stronger in cultivation of spiritual power. After all, he was in profound gold core realm, while Jian Wushuang was still in the spiritual sea realm. Even so, his power would be equal to someone in initial gold core realm if he fully brought out his potential. Together with his high comprehension in sword essence, Jian Wushuang could face him without fear. Bang! The giant door of the golden tower opened, and Jian Wushuang walked out slowly, with his long sword on his back. He passed the 11th level. But in the 12th, the opponent was much stronger than the woman in black in the 11th, much stronger than him, too. Therefore, Jian Wushuang was quickly defeated. In front of the Dragon Gate. As soon as Jian Wushuang showed up and looked around, the whole square suddenly turned quiet. Holding their breath, all people present stared at Jian Wushuang, the person who had just defied what was considered to be common sense. Suddenly, there was a deafening shout. Aha, third brother! Wang Yuan and Su Ru ran towards him immediately. Awesome! Amazing! Wang Yuan patted Jian Wushuang on his shoulder. He smiled and said, the 11th level, I did not think that you would pass from the 5th level to the 11th level of the Dragon Gate without a break, right after returning. You really never cease to amaze us. Go, let's go get a drink. We must drink to celebrate. Okay. Jian Wushuang didn't say no. Then, he walked directly towards his manor under everyone's gaze. Though Jian Wushuang had left, people in the square still talked about him. Many disciples of Dragon Palace were even still in shock. Above the nearby void. Aha, Palace Master White, you misjudged him this time, said another Palace Master while laughing. Don't laugh at me. If you found out that he had great talent in comprehending the sword essences of Gale and Earth, but didn't focus on them, instead, trying to comprehend another one, sword essence of Raging Fire, wouldn't you be worried? You would act the same as me. Palace Master White raised her eyebrows and smiled. She had been disappointed in Jian Wushuang because of that. However, what he had done today raised her expectations towards him, more than ever before. And she was happy about it. He surprised me, Palace Master White couldn't help saying. Not only did he comprehend 3 kinds of sword essence at one time, but he made great progress in all of them. It's amazing. Temple Master Yao nodded and highly praised him. We looked down upon him. That's true. We did look down upon him. No one expected that he was such a genius, nor that he could defy what we normally accept as common sense. We have seen lots of geniuses, but exceptional geniuses like him are so rare that, even in Dragon Palace, there is only one every few decades. He dares to comprehend 3 kinds of sword essence at one time, not following the suggestion of Palace Master White. He doesn't care about whether people in Dragon Palace look down on him. In the very next moment, he proved that he chose the right path by going through the Dragon Gate. Though he is arrogant, I like him. We thought he was wasting his talent, but now, it is really ironic. Comprehending 3 kinds of sword essence at one time is impossible for many with normal talent. However, for those geniuses, the truly exceptional geniuses, even comprehending 4 kinds of sword essence at one time is possible, let alone 3, Palace Master Black said suddenly. Everyone present looked over at Palace Master Black. Does no one remember Crazy Saber from 100 years ago? Palace Master Black looked around and asked. Crazy Saber. Each Palace Master's heart missed a beat. It was obvious that they all knew of him. He was able to comprehend 3 kinds of saber essence at one time. Not only that, he achieved great success in all 3, even combining them with high combat effectiveness. He was called the strongest in the Yin-Yang Void Realm, and he kept the leading position on the Heavenly Dragon list for decades. Isn't that terrifying? Palace Master Black said. Hearing that, all of the palace masters present were respectful. They all knew how formidable Crazy Saber was. Palace Master Black continued. Swordsman's strength may be not a quarter of Crazy Saber's, but he has as much talent as Crazy Saber. In a word, he has a bright future. Chapter 104, Supreme Gold Core Realm. Back at the manor, Wang Yuan directly took out some wine. Icy nectar. There was a sparkle in Jian Wushuang's eyes. You seldom drink it. Ha ha, but we are happy today, so drink whatever you can, Wang Yuan said in a generous tone. It's a pity that Zixuan isn't here, otherwise, we would enjoy ourselves even more today. Jian Wushuang silently laughed, but suddenly his expression changed as a look of surprise flashed in his eyes. Yuan, Ru, I'm afraid that I'll have to drink the wine with you a little later, Jian Wushuang said. What's wrong? Wang Yuan looked at him quizzically. I feel that I will have a breakthrough soon, Jian Wushuang replied. Breakthrough? Wang Yuan immediately asked with his eyes wide open. Break through the gold core. Su Ru immediately looked at him as well and asked. Jian Wushuang just winked at them. In the room, Jian Wushuang was sitting on the couch with his legs crossed and had a deep sparkle in his eyes. The bottleneck breaking pill is worth 5,000 points. Even though I did not get the chance of a breakthrough after I swallowed the first pill, I got it within 1 day after I swallowed the second one. He was very happy and surprised. It seemed that the spiritual sea realm was only 1 step away from the primordial gold core, but actually, the disparity between them was astonishingly great. Especially for Jian Wushuang, who was cultivating the heavenly creation skill, breaking through the gold core was definitely his top priority. After all, the primordial gold core was the only real expert in the Qianzong dynasty. Let's do it, Jian Wushuang said to himself. Jian Wushuang did not dare to waste any time. He had come here to begin the breakthrough as soon as he had realized that he had the chance. He was holding a golden sun pill tightly in his hand, and then swallowed the pill right after he began to make the breakthrough. Shortly after, the ultimate spiritual sea and spiritual power surged up in Jian Wushuang's body. At the same time, the power of the heavenly creation skill was running in his body. Suddenly, a terrific suction burst out from his body, and then the heaven and earth spiritual energy from all directions poured into Jian Wushuang's body at an amazing speed. Jian Wushuang was crazily absorbing the power. When Jian Wushuang absorbed the last heaven and earth spiritual energy along with his breath, the power in his body had reached its limit. Suddenly, the vast spiritual power crazily rushed toward the barrier. Bang! There was a muted thud. Jian Wushuang seemed a little bit quiet. The bottleneck had been broken through. The next task is achieving the supreme gold core realm. Jian Wushuang thought. The heavenly creation skill was totally different from common cultivation methods. It was the primordial gold core when ordinary warriors broke through the gold core, while it was supreme gold core when the gold core was broken through via the heavenly creation skill. Tilde. Above the vast spiritual sea, the spiritual power was crazily surging, which was accompanied by a touch of purple light. This purple light was an embryo. It was very small, however, it was extremely dazzling, and it became more dazzling and bigger under the vast surging spiritual power. Finally, a purple gold core slowly formed, the size of a baby's fist. At the right moment when it was formed, the surface of the gold core split and, shortly after, 2 golden fringes appeared. Finally, the gold core became purple gold. Jian Wushuang suddenly opened his eyes. There was a beam of blue-white light that brushed over his dark pupils. It's the supreme gold core realm. I have achieved it. Jian Wushuang said to himself. On the couch, Jian Wushuang twisted his neck a few times, accompanied by the clear sound of bones cracking. He slightly clenched his palms and suddenly he could feel a strong power, which made him smile. The next minute, Jian Wushuang exerted the strength in his palms toward the void in the front of him. Bang! Suddenly, a burst of a crisp sound filled the whole void. Supreme gold core realm. This is the supreme gold core realm, Jian Wushuang said with his eyes gleaming. Jian Wushuang did not realize what the real supreme gold core realm was until he had actually achieved it. The same as the ninth heaven of the divine path and the ultimate spiritual sea in the past. Supreme gold cores were pretty different from the ordinary gold cores. Supreme gold cores were way more powerful than the common primordial gold cores. Up till now, my achievement was just in the initial gold core realm, yet now I've just achieved the supreme gold core. However, I feel my spiritual power is 100 times more powerful than the ordinary initial gold core realm. Jian Wushuang said with great surprise. He just threw a punch into the air with 50% of his power. However, the power that erupted from his body was far more powerful than in the profound gold core realm. If I punch with 100% of my power will be comparable with the normal exceptional gold core realm. Maybe I am even more powerful, Jian Wushuang thought. The strength that erupted from the initial gold core realm could match that in the exceptional gold core realm? What does that mean? Only the unbelievable heavenly creation skill can incredibly achieve this, Jian Wushuang thought. The heavenly creation skill, all its movements were unbelievable and different. For the spirit path level, the difference between Jian Wushuang and common warriors was that he had 2 more realms than they had. For the level of spiritual sea, the difference between Jian Wushuang and common warriors was that he had limitless spiritual power. However, for the primordial gold core realm, the difference between Jian Wushuang and common warriors was the strength. Strength erupted from the gold core. The strength that erupted from the supreme gold core was 100 times more powerful than the gold core at the same stage. The strength that erupted from the initial completion of the gold core realm could match the exceptional gold core realm. Starting today, I am an expert in the Qianzong dynasty, Jian Wushuang thought. He stood up and there was a vigorous breath that emanated from him. With the power equal to the exceptional gold core realm, plus the sword essence apperception at the 11th level of the Dragon Gate, how powerful am I right now? I'm not sure if I can beat the powerhouses on the earthly dragon list, Jian Wushuang thought, with his hands clenched tightly. Once Jian Wushuang achieved the supreme gold core realm, the ordinary disciples of the Dragon Palace would be no longer his competitors, including Bai Cheng. The only person who could compete with him was Su Lai, who was on the earthly dragon list. But Jian Wushuang was pretty confident that he could compete with Su Lai. He was 90% sure that he could beat him. In the manor, Wang Yuan and Su Ru were waiting for Jian Wushuang. It's unbelievable that Wushuang dared to go through the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. In addition, right now he had another chance at a breakthrough if he could achieve the primordial gold core realm successfully. Whoa! Wang Yuan said with admiration. Su Ru agreed while slightly nodding her head. Jian Wushuang went through the 11th level sword essence of the Dragon Gate. If he could achieve the gold core, his power would reach a high level. Squeak! Suddenly, the door in Jian Wushuang's room was opened. The next moment, Jian Wushuang went inside slowly with a confident smile on his face. Wang Yuan and Su Ru looked at him immediately and realized what happened right after they noticed the gold core scent emanating from his body. Finally, Jian Wushuang had achieved the breakthrough. Chapter 105, Su Ru's Request. Ha ha! He made a breakthrough. Wang Yuan immediately stood up, laughing brightly and loudly. He has a gold core aura. Su Ru was stunned because she perceived something unusual. Although Jian Wushuang just made a breakthrough, the gold core aura concealed in his body was more powerful than warriors in the profound gold core realm. As usual, if Jian Wushuang didn't actively exhale it, ordinary people couldn't feel it. But Su Ru could perceive it because of her special circumstances. Therefore, she was very astonished. He is only in the initial gold core realm, so how could his gold core aura be so powerful? Although it seemed strange, Su Ru wasn't going to ask about it. After a brief pause, Jian Wushuang walked over. Come on, third brother. Have a drink. Wang Yuan promptly took out some good wine. Jian Wushuang didn't refuse this time. He directly took the glass, looked at it, then drank it. That's great. Not only did you reach the gold core realm, you also passed the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. I believe that nobody would dare to make trouble for me in the whole Dragon Palace, because of you, said Wang Yuan while laughing loudly. Wang Yuan was less respected in Dragon Palace because of his weak strength. But now, things would change. Like the old saying, tall trees provide the best shade. Apparently, Jian Wushuang had become a tall tree. Third brother. Su Ru was about to say something, but she stopped. What's wrong? Jian Wushuang looked at her. Would you do me a favor? Su Ru asked. What do you need help with? Jian Wushuang asked, then slightly smiled. They were like family to him, so Jian Wushuang was frank and treated them sincerely. Although fourth sister, Su Ru, was a woman of few words with an introverted and delicate character, she would never shrink back at a crucial moment. Su Ru and Yang Zixuan had stepped forward to assist Jian Wushuang when he was forced to compete with Su Lai. As family, what they did made Jian Wushuang feel grateful. Thus, he would not decline them if they turned to him for help. I received news 2 days ago that a black water lotus was found in the Endless Mountain Range. It will be completely mature in a few days. The black water lotus is useful to me, Su Ru said. Black water lotus. Jian Wushuang was intrigued by it. He had also heard that the black water lotus was a very rare natural treasure. Not only could the black water lotus be used to refine pills, it had an even more important use. It could breed black water lotus seeds, which would be an immeasurable help when trying to comprehend a sense of the water drop. It was said that if, while comprehending a sense of the water drop, one absorbed the black water lotus seed, they would greatly improve their comprehension in essence of the water drop. In Qianzhong dynasty, many warriors who studied a sense of the water drop were willing to pay a high price to procure a black water lotus seed. Do you want the black water lotus seed to help you comprehend sword essence of the water drop? Jian Wushuang asked. No. I want the black water lotus instead of its seed, Su Ru replied. What she said surprised Jian Wushuang. The seed was the most valuable part of the black water lotus. As for the black water lotus itself, it was actually useless. Logically, she should be striving for the seed to help her comprehend essence of the water drop. But she cared more about the black water lotus. Why? The black water lotus is very valuable in Qianzhong dynasty. Many warriors who meditate on essence of the water drop are very eager to get it. So, once the black water lotus blooms, many experts will struggle for it, Su Ru said. My cultivation has reached the profound gold core realm, and my comprehension is pretty good. However, I'm not confident I can acquire it in front of all those people. Jian Wushuang understood. Do you want me to help you fight for the black water lotus? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes. Su Ru nodded. I had thought that I should turn to second brother for help when he came back, or ask some strong disciples of Dragon Palace for assistance. But now that you have made a breakthrough into the gold core realm. I see. Jian Wushuang laughed and then asked, when will we leave? Su Ru was delighted and replied, in 2 days. Okay. I will go with you, Jian Wushuang promised at once. Though Jian Wushuang promised Su Ru, he was a little curious. Why did she have no interest in the seed but care so much about the black water lotus? 2 days later, Jian Wushuang and Su Ru departed. When they walked through Dragon Palace, the disciples of Dragon Palace couldn't help looking at Jian Wushuang. That is Swordsman. What a monster! Is he going outside to train? I heard that he reached the gold core realm. The disciples of Dragon Palace were discussing Jian Wushuang, but without being envious. After all, when a person's strength greatly exceeded their imagination and reached an incredible level, they would naturally feel respect instead of envy. Now, they realized that compared with Jian Wushuang's strength, it was like they were in 2 totally different worlds. So why compete with him? Outside Dragon Palace, 2 golden-armored sergeants, riding griffins, were already waiting for them. Let's go. Jian Wushuang nodded and then he left on a griffin, heading towards the Endless Mountain Range with Su Ru. Nobody knew that as soon as Jian Wushuang left, Bai Cheng reported it to Blood Feather Tower. In a dim study, an old man in grey sat on a chair with 2 purple-masked assassins standing respectfully in front of him. Jian Wushuang has left Dragon Palace. The old man in grey raised his head, looking directly at them in a cold manner. It is said that Jian Wushuang has passed the 11th level of Dragon Gate, which shocked the whole Dragon Palace. And now he has even formed his primordial gold core. What's more, he is 17 this year. Bang! The old man in grey heavily slapped the desk, which made the green wooden desk break into pieces. He suddenly stood up and burst out with a raging voice. A 17-year-old with a primordial gold core. A 17-year-old man who passed the 11th level of the Dragon Gate. How could he progress so fast? If he keeps making progress at such speed, he will easily destroy Bloodfeather Tower in a few years. When hearing this, the two Purple Masked Assassins who were standing there respectfully began to tremble. Listen. Collect as much intelligence as you can. Find out where he is going. Find him. The first and second squad of Bloodshadow are on call. Once you find Jian Wushuang, you must immediately kill him, regardless of the cost. This time, definitely, do not give him any chances. If he escapes again, everyone involved in this mission, including both of you, will be executed. The old man in grey had an extremely cold expression. His killing intent shrouded the whole room with an ice-cold feeling. After hearing that, both of the Purple Masked Assassins couldn't help swallowing, then they immediately left. And with that incredible surge of new energy, we conclude Chapter 105. Wushuang has emerged from his seclusion transformed. The artifact is no longer just a tool, it is part of him. His cultivation base has stabilized, and his sword techniques have reached a level of lethality that would terrify his former rivals. The period of hiding is officially over. He has the power, he has the truth, and now, he has a list of names. Join us next time for chapters 106 through 110, as Wushuang returns to the sect, not as a student, but as an executioner, beginning his systematic revenge against the traitors. Thank you for continuing this journey with Panda Audio Books. If you're ready to see the Sword God in action, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.